Well, good morning. I'm Reverend Paula Skiles with the Unity Church of San Marcos. And this is Sunday, the 22nd of May, year 2022. And we are preparing for a large dose of miracles in 2022. You believe it?
That's right.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes,
A large dose happens to be the title to my message, and it's about preparing for chemicalization. So, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that term. It's been around a long, long time, and I actually haven't given a message on chemicalization probably in 20 years. However, I was guided to do so because in our previous message we talked about, looking at our thoughts non-judgementally and being able to use our power of no to deny or let go of the things that no longer serve us, the beliefs, attitudes, judgments, those kind of things, and to affirm that which we do want, that greater good, the healing, the miracles that we're asking or needing in our lives. And so we talked about examining what is going through our minds. And are our thoughts and beliefs in alignment with what we're looking to have as a miracle in our life? And at the same time, we discussed that it's important to use our no before we try to use our yes. Okay. So today, it's important to understand that there is a reactionary part of the process of our spiritual growth, and acknowledging that is important, and we call it chemicalization. And it is whenever you and I set an intention, everything that isn't in support of that within our belief systems or our attitudes or actually even our behaviors, then those things come up for healing, and they usually come up as resisting. And the good news is, when we get a large dose of chemicalization, which sometimes happen, there is a cure, so to speak. There is a cure. So we'll talk about that. But our tendency to resist change and our fear of letting go offers us many an opportunity when we're decided, or we feel guided by Spirit to let go of something that no longer serves us. That part of us that wants to stay small, or that is afraid of the unknown, or, I don't know about you, but sometimes I find myself, if I'm out of my comfort zone, I start feeling overwhelmed. Or not panicking, but like, okay, I don't think I can handle this. Maybe that kind of mindset comes through, right? And that's when I really have to double down, because that's chemicalization coming through about saying, it's a dissuasion process. We'll get into that. So, but rather than our fears saying up front, I'm just shaking in my boots because you're about to destroy me, doesn't happen that way. It would say something like, I may not have a business plan, but let's start that new business right now. Just do it. Or something like, you don't have to eat healthy foods. You don't have time for that. It's too much work. Or maybe we get the ideas like, you best not break up with your partner because no one else will love you. Or we get another thought of, I need this job, and I just need to suck it up and stay here. All right, so those are the kinds of resistance, if you will, that come up, and they are representing chemicalization. And now our mind, when we're scared, can be very sly, can be. And it will turn things upside down and down on us in terms of our feelings and our emotions and everything else, to the point that we feel kind of like jumping out of that airplane like Lloyd Bridges in the movie Airplane. All right? So I've learned that over the years, as soon as I start to focus in on what that greater good that I'm feeling I need to do, then that's when all the things that are not in alignment with that begin to come up for healing. And so we can and often do begin to experience the 3 Ds. 1 is distractions, 2 is dissuasions, and 3 is DEFCON 1. All right. So distractions. A distraction is when our mind causes us to focus on something other than what our good is, right? Such as, I'm too busy or too tired to go exercise right now, all right? Or, I really want to clean my house before I start something new, right? Or, I would cook that Whole30 meal, but I need to organize my sock drawer first. I'll start saving for my retirement next month or next year because I need to buy a new car or an iPhone or new furniture. You understand where I'm going? So all of this is a part of a distraction, which is a part of chemicalization that can occur, that tries to pull us off track or keep us in the old track, so to speak, instead of developing the new ones. So distractions keep us living the same life over and over. You may have heard someone lives their life like 90 years. Well, there's also a lot of us who live the same day over and over, 90 years, doing the same thing in the same way, all right? Nothing changes. So if you're committed to something that would be for your greater good and suddenly your kids need your special attention and they're taking precedence, or you're worried about your mom, or your work weighs on you. These are distractions. Okay. Dissuasion. Now, the dissuasion is the voice of your inner critic. Now, I know I have had one very loud inner critic at many times in my life, and I bet some of you have too. It is a voice that tells you you can't, you're not enough, you're not young enough or pretty enough or whatever enough, right? And so this voice reinforces and reminds you of your weaknesses, right? And it's always telling you are less than, and it is a large dose of poison to our soul. Now, I need you to hear that. I mean, truly, it is a large dose of poison. All right. Dissuasion is the incredible pull of the familiar, all right? Dissuasion is like, my partner isn't really a great one, but he's better than no one, all right? My job isn't satisfying, but I don't have a degree to get something better. Dissuasion, it's that voice that is not our higher self. It is not, our Christ self does not use discouragement, and it will never cause us to doubt ourselves, okay? DEFCON 1. Now, DEFCON 1 is a military term, all right? And it means we are running scared all out. I mean it. We are like running scared. All right. So life feels like a crisis when you're in DEFCON 1, all right? And sometimes DEFCON 1 will even show up as illness. I remember when I first started learning and going to ministerial school classes, I just got sick. I mean, literally sick within my first semester. And I couldn't for weeks, and I couldn't get well. And literally, I had this mindset, if you will. Who do I think I am to be a minister? Really? I mean, seriously. That was with the things that were not actually right on the top surface conscious, but just running constantly underneath. And every test or every paper or every book I had to read it was like undermining and just poisoning my whole being. And I ended up truly being sick. And so just to recognize that this is also something people experience who are trying to recover from addiction or drugs or even criminal behavior. Something happens and it tends to pull them back into that old behavior and keep them locked into it. So I'm convinced you can never get too highly evolved not to experience chemicalization. I think Jesus Christ experienced chemicalization, and I think he talked about it in this. This is Mark 2:22. Let me share this. And he spoke in this idea of chemicalization about the wineskins. All right? Maybe you remember this one. No one puts new wine into old wineskins. Otherwise, the wine will burst the skins, and the wine is lost, and so are the skins. But one puts new wine into fresh wineskins. All right, so this, in other words, is you can't put new ideas into old mindsets. You can't get new results with the same old behaviors. I think it was Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Yeah. So the old wineskin has assumed a definite shape, and it's even somewhat brittle. And the activity of new wine will stress it beyond its ability to stretch and mold and yield. So both the wine and the skins are lost. Though when wine is new, it is in a state of fermentation, and gases expand the wine skin. And when it's a new wine skin, it can expand with it and age as it does with the wine. So we can't put new ideas into old mindsets. So we don't get new results with old behaviors. But here's the good news. The more you and I work to keep expanding our consciousness, the less that chemicalization will present in our lives. Okay? So, in other words, the question might come up, well, what do I do when I recognize that this phenomenon is occurring in my life? Well, number one is get right back on track. Do it non-judgmentally. Just notice that's where you are, and simply get right back without judgment, blame, shame, any of those other things. And the other aspect is to get it with people who, what I call partners in believing. Having a prayer support group or having a mastermind group. People who can believe when you can't believe in that moment, to help support you. It's a really important whenever you recognize that chemicalization is going on in your life. Our board of trustees is a partners in believing for our church, who are partners in believing with me that this church and its good is going to be absolutely revitalized, regenerated as we come out of that COVID experience and just move into a new sense of being and awareness for itself. Sometimes your partners in believing are your family, perhaps a 12-step group that you've been involved with a long time, or maybe even a prayer support group that is a coaching group that you've paid to join. It doesn't matter. It's having that help when you need it to hold to that idea that you're trying to evolve to or grow into or hold in your as a new mindset, a new belief system about yourself or about what's possible, or even holding a hope for a miracle, whatever it is. So how do we deal with it? With a large dose of self-compassion and forgiveness. Anytime we make a commitment to grow consciously, any part of ourselves that is complacent will be wakened up. And that usually isn't comfortable. Our being resists. So that chemicalization, it can be difficult sometimes. So we got distractions, dissuasions, and DEFCON 1. Just be aware. Those 3 Ds are going to be a part of that process. If you and I stray from our goals and our plans, remember, just get right back on it. Just step right back as if you never even stepped off. Literally, just pretend that it didn't even happen and just move on. Okay? Charles Fillmore wraps up his definition of chemicalization with these words. When the conscious mind has been put in order, the Holy Spirit descends with peace like a dove. There are certain things that we can use, if you will, as signs of being in the right place at the right time and doing what we're supposed to do. Peace, that is one of them. Peace of mind. When we have that peace in our minds and we're experiencing that, we can know that we are holding and being in divine order in that moment. And so let's affirm together that our positive changes in our lives and our miracles that we are looking for are entering into our being, and that we are going to experience lives of ease with a large dose of peace descending like a dove. So now, listen. You hear the cooing? God bless you.